You know how crazy the world is.
What?
I'm just sit right next to the cousin of John Gotti.
Yeah.
And the corporate Italian food.
Yeah.
I haven't.
No, no, me too. I think I never met an Italian woman. Like I'm serious. Like seriously.
Never met an Italian woman?
Of course, you're from Italy.
You go to Provenza.
What, you mean in
see
Colombia?
plenty of them.
No, you have to
In
I
Colombia,
haven't either.
in Colombia, in France, in the United States,
Do we have to put a mic
you know, I
on
never
John?
met an
that's rare.
Italian.
It's going to catch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really strong.
Yes, I never met an Italian woman of my life.
Yeah.
Not one time in my life.
I mean, if you want to see an Italian girl, you should come meet to Provenza. Let's go to Perro Negro on a Wednesday.
Okay.
And you see plenty of them. Trust me.
Okay.
Did you show him a picture of Arsenio Hall? No. I don't want to distract you. Want to show him now? Show him later. That's funny though. Unbelievable.
I like it.
You already ordering your food?
I like it, first, you know, it's decent.
Yeah, we could order and eat. We talk.
Because me and my friends, you know, we already ate, but we're gonna drink something with y'all, and we're just gonna converse, and that's it.
Okay.
That's it. I think I'm gonna take a lemonade.
Lemonade.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're a lemonade. You always take lemonade. Always. You need to switch it up a little bit.
No. If I switch up, a bottle of water. Honest. You know how crazy the world is.
What?
I'm just sit right next to the cousin of John Gotti,
Yeah.
and we're about to eat with with each other like we are friends. This is the beauty of Medellin.
Yeah.
You never know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Exactly.
You never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every time I cough.
Perfect.
But it's really far away. Right now the fight is the best.
Hola. Yeah.
Gracias.
We're gonna get that. It's gonna be chopped up. No? It's gonna be content. Because what Tavares, he's been on stage. He used to open up for the Jackson 5. That's how far back he used to go. Tavares is an all blood brother group. All over YouTube, you can look up Tavares. They did a lot of hits, more than a woman back in the day. A lot of hits they made. Well, Butch is a Christian. Feliciano Tavares, also known as Butch Tavares. It's like a brother to me. And years ago, before I went to prison, I was hanging out with a bad group of people.
And at that time, it was in the 90s, right? The 90s or
Yeah,
late
that was
90s?
through the 80s.
Okay.
And in 1993, I got indicted for doing a lot of bad things prior. But getting back to Butch Tavares, which is an important message to all the young kids out there, all the gangbangers, is that Butch always told me back then, stay away from this guy. Brother, stay away from this. Because sooner or later, that man upstairs is going to punish everybody. Might take a year, might take 5 years, might take 10 years. And every one of my friends that hung out there, who was killed, who went to prison, who had to pay $300,000 in legal fees not to go to prison, but there was a consequence for everything that you do. And if it's something really bad, you ain't escaping. I didn't escape. My cousin John didn't escape. None of us escaped. And it's easy to go into jail. You can go in there now or blow this table upside down. You try to get out. Very, very difficult to get out of jail. So, you got to stay away from it.
You said a great thing. You said a great thing earlier. You said it's so easy to get jail. They'll chauffeur you to jail. They'll take you.
When you do something bad, when you get arrested, they drive you there. They open the door for you. They walk you into the jail. Thank you very much, sir. And now when it's time to go home, you got to get a bondsman, you got to get money, you got to have a place where they know you're going to be, ankle bracelet or whatever the hell it is they do. It ain't worth it. I think you still got to fight. You still got to fight your case. You still got to, trying to get out. Once you get out, you still got to go to court, fight your case, get a lawyer, do it. It's a pain in the ass. So any recommendation that I could give to any of those young gangbangers out there, there's no easy way.
Listen to this youngest.
There's no easy way to make money. You might, like me, making $20,000, $30,000 a week.
A week.
You're thinking that, yeah, 10,000, 5,000. You think it's never going to go away, and it didn't. For 5 years, we were living good. The man upstairs sees everything. Sooner or later, I spent $300,000 on my lawyers.
My God.
Yeah, my lawyers were $300,000.
The price of $300,000. You can buy 3 houses here.
Just
No,
to
excuse
fight
me,
the-
6. 6
Colombia.
in Colombia is the price of 6 houses.
And you want to know something? After 6 weeks of trial, I still lost. So I lost the $300,000. I got sentenced to 10 years in prison. I appealed it. Cost me another $40,000 for the appeal.
Excuse me,
And I lost that too.
10 years without probation?
What?
10 years, you have spent 10 years in prison without probation.
Yeah, 8.7 years.
8.7 years.
You get. I had.
Yeah, that's
10
crazy.
I had 120 months, which is. I had a little more than 10 years, and you don't do the whole 10. You do 88% of it, something like that.
That's crazy.
Well,
That's crazy.
that's what happens. It's crazy, but people don't realize it and really don't care. When they're out there doing this and doing that, hustling, dealing, gambling, loan sharking, lending money, which I used to do, with a high interest rate. I never really had to hurt anybody because I always had collateral.
Oh, I was lucky.
Like if you wanted
You were lucky.
$20,000, you would have collateral.
Okay.
Johnny, I need $20,000, and you would show me what you had. I would see if it was worth at least $20,000, and if it was, I'd lend you the $20,000 and hold this.
Okay.
And you would pay me a certain amount of money every week on that.
Okay.
Like on $10,000, you would give me about $220 a week
Okay.
every week, until not toward the principal. You still owe me the 10 grand.
Of course.
That's money goes in my pocket until you pay the balance. When you pay me back my 10, I give you back your 10.
Okay.
And I hope I never saw you again.
Yeah.
Would you
That's the
give me
deal.
that? So my point, but even at that, I got arrested. That was in my indictment also. 8 years later. Loan sharking. All the money I made,
But you
Gone.
didn't invest a penny.
no.
That's crazy.
You should have went to law school. You should have been a lawyer.
I learned a lot with the law.
Yeah.
You learn a lot. You really do, because because lawyers don't, even when you're in jail and you have a lawyer, believe me, you're not their only client. They got 15, 20 clients.
Of course.
They're not going to spend all their time on you. They will say they do, but they got things, they got deadlines for him, for you, for him. So there's a lot that you must do, like me and my friends did. We're all together. It's the truth. Maddie would literally dissect the law books, and he saved me on a lot of things that he was involved in too. But anyway, it's just a lot. For the young people, take it from me, because I did 10 years with the feds. Then I did 9 years with the state. Well, we ate good in prison. You know, in a federal prison, all the inmates run the prison.
Yes, that's what I heard.
The hacks, the guards, they just watch. They don't want you to fight because they got to do paperwork.
Of course.
They don't really care what you do as long as you don't fight. Because the officers, we call them hacks, they watch TV with the inmates. Peaceful. They just want to go home. So what we did, we had friends that worked in the kitchen. Inmates. Friends that I knew from out in the streets. We had friends that worked in the construction division on the compound. They have a construction, electrician, plumbers, all of that stuff. But who were the electricians? There were inmates that were electricians on the street with federal. You know, most of the people in federal are they're not like drug addicts or dealing drugs. They do like corporate crime, so to speak. Well, anyway, so in jail we had Sal was the guy who worked in the kitchen. We used to get a case of tomatoes from him every week, and I used to divide them with 3 other friends of mine to it. And we used to make our own tomato sauce. You know, we used to eat good. I eat better in jail than I eat in the street.
That's crazy.
Because everything we had to,
That's
for
crazy.
example, we had to make a pot.
Okay.
There's no metal pots that you can have in jail.
Yeah.
But you can have people in the painting department, inmates, you know, when they have a 5-gallon bucket of paint that you buy in the store, big one, we used to get that used or to cut it and make a pot.
Okay.
You understand?
So the inmate was cooking for themselves, so you was...
Yeah, instead of the big 5-gallon bucket of paint,
Okay.
after they were empty, the guy in the paint department gave us the empty bucket, and he used to cut it for us
Okay.
and make it this big. And we used to give him some commissary,
Okay.
cookies, whatever.
Okay,
hell we
okay, okay,
wanted.
okay, okay. So,
And so we
talking about food,
I got rigatoni, no, penny, with bolognese sauce.
That looks
With a
delicious.
hot pepper. You want some?
yeah, it's
No,
good.
it's good.
Looking good.
She's a very good cook.
But we have to come to this restaurant next time.
No, it's close by, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's stories that I can tell to help these kids that are fucked up out there, they're all killing each other in Miami.
For no reason. Right now they don't
I
even...
told you about Miami? They're just killing each other. When I grew up, when I was 15, 16, 17, we used to have gang fights in the Bronx, but we had brass knuckles,
Yeah.
with the little baseball bats. We used to, you know, now the kids are all shooting.
Yes, that's ridiculous. They don't even know how to fight.
And you know what? A couple of friends of mine are police officers, and I asked JR, I said, JR, he goes, John, when they pull out a gun, if they have the gun like this, shaking, most of the time they shoot. If they have the gun like this, most of the time they don't shoot. Because they got control. These other people, he goes, it's bad. Really bad.
Yeah.
That's why.
And what you think about when you see the younger generation? What's the difference between the generation of today compared to you when you was younger? What's the difference?
They have no. See, what I grew up, believe it or not, like the mafia, the Gambino crime family in certain neighborhoods, they controlled it. People have a bad idea of what they are, but they do whatever they do, but they don't hurt the general public. They help people. John Gotti Jr., he helps people. in Harlem, from my understanding, the Boys Club in New York City, Black Boys Club, he bought all the gym equipment for them to help them. But the people that are involved with him, there's rules and regulations. If you don't want to follow the rules and regulations, don't get involved. If you do, you're in. So you make a decision, and the decision is to stay away. Should be. But other than that, you just got to. The kids today, they think it's a game, and I think a lot of it has to do with video games. But they think it's a game, especially with these guns. I don't know if you guys, and I hope you never did see a guy get shot before.
No, by the grace of God.
Because you know what happens? Sometimes you'll learn a lot.
Yes.
Because you don't realize that once you see a guy get shot and he's dead, he ain't getting up.
No, that's crazy.
That's age.
Yes.
That's age.
It affects you. I think
He's not getting up.
it's affecting.
And a lot of these kids today never saw that. But when they do it, they're going to say, what the fuck did I do?
Yes.
And it's a heavy consequence. That's the truth. Very bad
Yes.
what's going on out there today. That's why if you can get anything out of this for the young people, take it from me, because I did 10 years with the feds, and then I did 127 months with the feds, whatever that comes out to be, a little over 10 years.
And
then I did 9 years with the state.
How old you were when you went the first time you went to prison?
See, I was 36.
Yes, you were mature.
Yeah.
Yeah. You were really
Yes,
mature.
I was mature. Because, with me it was different, because back then there was a lot of, for example, like in John Gotti's neighborhood, there was no drug dealers. He didn't allow it.
Okay.
So it was more controlled. Even the kids controlled. There was drugs, don't get me wrong, but not like in his neighborhood where he lived. That whole neighborhood was always good. They were against drugs. That's what they were against drugs. So the drugs stayed away. So now people don't care. Today's kids, they don't give a shit.
Yes, that's the problem.
They don't care.
That's the problem. That's the difference.
This is my block, stay off it. I deal drugs on this block. You tried doing that when I was growing up? Jeez, that ain't happening. That was not happening.
Yes. In the old days, people were more structured. The gangsters were more structured.
Yeah.
Today, it's no real structure. It's just who's the toughest, who's the most violent. It makes no sense, because they don't really, have a sense of. They're not organized. They're not really organized. It's just violence for violence. Because when you told me, this is why I was surprised when you say that the first time you went to jail, you were 36. Because now, they go to jail at 16, like 20. They go to jail really young. So that's why when you told me like you went to jail at 36, now I start to understand. Because
I was doing, not a lot, but I was doing in things I shouldn't be doing. Never hurt anybody.
yes,
But lending money out, getting interest on it. I had slot machines, in all the nightclubs. Stuff like that. Which was against the law.
Let's not put that in there. Make sure that doesn't go in there.
What?
The slot machines in the clubs.
Wow.
You never had a hassle for that.
you're going
That's
to
fine.
see
Listen.
everything after. Don't worry.
It was not really the slot machines, it was telephones. We put pay phones, our own pay phones. We didn't even have something. It was something, it was pay phones.
And you were operating in New York, right? All the time.
And the other thing, don't think your friends are not going to rat on you.
Oh, this, I heard it many
Listen,
times.
don't believe that. Because everybody's a tough guy until they get in handcuffs. Then they're like, Truth. I've seen the toughest of the toughest. Guys that would beat the shit out of people. Tough guys. The minute the handcuffs come out, oh no, it wasn't me. The truth. So don't depend on your buddies in your gang, because when it comes down to the handcuffs, watch how quick they throw you under the bus. Nobody wants to go to jail. Don't ever forget that. They might say, oh, big deal, big tough guy, but when it comes time to go to jail,
Yeah,
everybody
that's
becomes
true.
a pussycat.
That's true.
It's true.
That's true. That's true. I see it over and over.
Yeah.
Because me personally, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not into this tough guy shit. You know, I don't care about
You
it.
look like a tough guy.
Yes. But I'm not. You know, I'm the smart one. You know, because I do things that's going to benefit me long term. You know, I know people that, you know, that doing illegal activities, but those people, you know, they were older than me. So, you know, I always have that mentality of, if you do something wrong, you have to understand that there is consequence to it,
Consequence, everything you do in life.
and you have to do it for a reason. If your back is not against the wall, don't do anything illegal or dangerous or bad. That's what I think. So that's why I don't really, you know, like this new culture of, you know, even in the rap music, you know, the youngest, you know, they like to listen. I don't really like the message that they try to push. Like, you must go to jail, you know, to be respected. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's
Get street
ridiculous.
credit.
That's ridiculous.
Get street credit.
I don't need that.
One more thing. You gotta find good people. Good. If you want to stay out of trouble, you gotta surround yourself with good people. I always surrounded myself with bad people. Bad things happen. Period. Maybe not right away, but sooner or later. They'll get arrested. Like with me, I got arrested because of people that I knew 2 years before I was arrested. They got arrested for something years ago. And what did they do? They told the police something about me 2 years, 3 years later. Then I got arrested. Okay? Terrible. My point is that surround yourself with good people. Me, I got Joey Steve. He's like a brother to me, and he's got his whole family. Uncle Ralphie and me become good friends, right?
Yeah, Uncle Ralphie's great. Uncle Ralphie was my father Angelo's brother. And something funny about Uncle Ralphie, our grandfather, our family's Sicilian, he used to talk like this. Our grandfather, Joe Steve, I was named after him. Hey, number one. Had a hard time talking English, but he had a very good, high-pitched voice.
Yeah.
And we used to always joke about it. And then one day, I was able to get Grandpa's voice. And I told my dad, Angelo, I said, Dad, listen to this. And he started laughing. He goes, Joey, you got to call Uncle Ralph. And I called him Uncle Ralph, talking like Grandpa, and he thought I was Grandpa. And I started talking all sorts of stuff. Point of the story is now, Uncle Ralphie sounds just like Grandpa. Yes or no? Hey, how you guys doing? Yeah. Yeah. And Uncle Ralph loved Johnny. They came to a concert in Florida like a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah.
But it's right. You want to surround yourself with good people because
You gotta.
With Johnny, I'm going to vouch for Johnny, one of the greatest guys I know, because he's able to admit his errors. He served his time. He paid his debts, and now he looks out for a lot of people. Real deal story. So if you guys are seeing Johnny B right now, just show him some love in the comments because he's awesome.
Yeah, let's talk about women a little bit, because, you know, all the gangster stuff, you know, that's the main universe, you know. But right now, you know, we are in Colombia, you know, and we know the culture of Colombia. You know why men, you know, love this country. One of the reasons. So we would like to have your opinion about the girls in Colombia. And excuse me. First of all, how long you have been in Colombia?
That's a good question.
That's the first question. Because right now you're in Medellin, by the way.
I live in Boca Raton, Florida.
Okay.
I always wanted to come to Colombia in my upbringing. Why? Remember Pablo Escobar days? It
Yeah.
was the big, all the girls, the drugs. Going back 20 years ago, 25 years ago, Colombia was like, man, I wish I could go there. And I met Joey. Joey's an international recording artist. I know a lot of international recording artists myself. People he know, I know in the business. Anyway, I got close to Joey a few years, 4 or 5 years ago. I came down here, stayed with Joey right in Poblado.
Do you have kids with her? Or
No.
Okay.
No, she's just the one. Anyway,
Were you married? Were you single?
I was
ever?
almost married.
Okay.
And then I came here to stay with Joey, and that was over with.
Okay.
No more Kathy. Kathy was a great girl.
Yeah.
I should have married her, to be honest with you.
Do you
If
have
she ever sees me.
Do you have kids with her? Or
No.
Okay.
No, she's just the one. Anyway. Anyway, how are the girls? It's not only the girls.
Yeah.
It's not only the girls.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yes.
You guys have been here
It's
for
everything.
a while. So it's not. That's just. Everything is so peaceful here. It really is.
True. It is.
Very peaceful.
It is. It is.
I don't even hear cop cars. Do you?
No. Me
Go
neither.
to city. Woo, woo, woo,
No, no,
woo,
no, no.
woo, woo,
That's
woo.
what I was talking about to my friend. My friend in Paris. Every time I talk to him,
You hear
I
it
hear
on the phone.
it. I hear it every time.
Yeah.
The police are running around the cities
Yeah.
in Paris. That's crazy.
I've never seen people, and I'm sure there's people who rob people here.
Of course.
But
Often.
they rob the people who are, to me, are just dopey, stupid.
Yes.
They're not gonna
Yes,
rob
that's
you.
true.
We're more,
That's true, that's
we're
true.
more like street. It ain't happening with
I
us.
have not
That's
been
true.
robbed since I've been.
Right.
That's true.
And I don't even see it.
You gotta be
They-
smart.
They prey among the weak.
Exactly.
They do that everywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do it in New York City, do it in Miami. They prey upon the weak.
Of course.
If you see in New York City some guy wearing a $40,000 Rolex and he's walking around like this in Harlem, somebody's gonna rob him.
Of course.
Did.
Because he's a dumbass.
But he's a dumbass.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's who you hang out, where you go. But there's so peaceful here. The nice thing about it, I stay with Joey. He's constantly got 10 guys, 14 guys coming in, like from the sanitation department in New Jersey. They rent the whole building, and I'm there. And I get to know them. I gained so many friends that I met from Holland that I still keep in contact. Daniel from Holland, he texted me this morning, how long are you gonna be there? I'm just nice people. And I stay within the people I know.
Yeah.
I don't go out to meet strangers. I don't need them.
Me too, I like that. I'm like that too.
That's how you find, you don't know, I want to be around people I know.
Me too, I'm like this,
I don't
know.
want no problems.
Yeah.
I don't want any problems.
Me too. Yeah. It's better, and it's better like this because you're already in a peaceful country,
Yeah.
so you want to keep it like this.
Plus,
That's it.
I'm in a different country.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't keep your circle tight. That's the key.
yeah. They say pick your fruit wisely.
Exactly.
Picking what?
Your fruit.
Wisely. So like pick your plans wisely.
I mean, that's the thing, because I had a friend, so-called friend, that, he lost his credit card. He was one of them that left his credit card in the ATM, right?
I did that before.
And, he needed money. I gave him money. He owed me money from even, like, partnering with us and everything, right? And then what happens is when he's living with me, right, he lived with me for like a month. And after that, he left. When he left, I then saw that I was booking an Airbnb on my account. I saw that money was being drawn on was trying to be drawn on my account. I saw a credit card being applied for.
Crazy.
That guy got my social. He had all my information. He got into my
How
email
long did you know him?
for a couple months.
I rest my case.
I tried to help him. And that's why y'all go back to like when you said you gotta be careful who you have around.
Of course.
You know what I do?
I learned that. I learned that.
The hard way.
I learned hundreds of lessons like that when I was growing up. Lending people money. John, you got $50? Yeah, no problem. Whatever it was, for years. And you know what happens? When you lend money to somebody, you know what that does? You're making an enemy.
That's right.
Yes.
What I do now, even with you guys, if you told me, Johnny, I need to borrow a couple of $100, I would never lend it to you, but I would give it to you. Here's $100. You don't owe me nothing. This way I can never be mad at you. But if you don't give me back the $100, don't ever ask me for money again, because the answer's going to be no. If you give it back to me, you'll get it again. That's what I do. I don't lend money to anybody.
Yes.
It was us. Unless you know, it's different.
So let me ask you a question. So the rule of thumb is not to lend any money.
If you don't lend it, you give it.
Yes,
All
it's
right,
better.
so how much are you willing to give me right now? In terms of making fun with you.
You lend money, you get an enemy.
Because it really, like Johnny says, it causes enemies.
John should
Don't lend money if you don't have to.
His victim job.
That's a crazy story.
This is Christmas. It's Angel, John.
That
It's
I
me.
did the same exact thing where I lent
That's you?
somebody money.
Yeah.
And
John Gotti.
and how many children you
Did you
have?
get it?
None.
You caught it.
No, I caught everything in.
This is John Gotti's daughter's wedding. He sang there.
He's the type of
It's
person
John
that
Gotti. This is John Gotti's daughter.
I would
John Gotti Jr.
just to take this stuff. I
This
want some of this
is
stuff.
the
Take it and
kid.
throw it in the barbecue.
She's a very well-known
I
person.
would have.
You look her up.
No,
She
the
made
way she do it,
movies.
she fast
She's the
stuff.
daughter of John
Can make some
Gotti.
money.
Nah,
This is me.
Yeah, I can see it.
Coming out of the federal courthouse
I gotta eat that.
at her brother's trial.
Like I was,
That was on the
Discord,
front
like,
page of the
everybody could've
newspaper.
seen it. Everybody could have seen it and everything.
I think I did see the photo before.
But
Because
you
her
can put
face looks
that like
familiar.
old school, how it was and how we don't.
They know that.
I mean, I don't know. I got all the pictures here.
How'd you know the kid?
I'm talking about your wife, your
Not
ex-wife.
my wife.
She's an American, right?
She's American.
How
Yeah.
are you making out, Johnny? I want to know how you say in Spanish, keep the fuck away from that bathroom. I just killed it. Shit up.
Spanish? You want to say it in Spanish? How you say garlic in Spanish?
What?
Garlic.
Ajo.
Garlic, I have no idea.
Ajo, I know how to say it.
John Bon Jovi.
Aho.
You know John Bon Jovi?
But I'm gonna put it on the Google Drive so everybody can like.
No, this
You
this.
never heard of him? These guys, how old are they? You know who John Bon Jovi
I'm
is?
31.
26, 26.
31,
You know who
26.
John Bon Jovi?
John Bon. I heard sound familiar, you know. John Bon
Bro,
Jovi.
The songs, because you know, there's a lot of artists that make very great hits that
these
everybody
guys-
know, but we don't know their names. Yes, me too. I really love sugar. I really used to, eat a lot of candies.
And it's addicting.
Yes, it's
Let me
addictive.
tell you something.
Really addicting.
When I don't have sugar for 2 or 3 days, I don't desire it.
Me too.
The minute I have like a Reese's peanut butter cup,
I can stop.
gotta have them.
Yes, I can stop. I can stop. If I start to eat one candy, all the candy around me have to be finished. I can see one candy and let it, like, not eating it. That's why the candies that were there, you don't see them there anymore.
You know, when you want to title that, if you always make it, try to keep the word mafia out.
I'm not used to this word, honestly.
It's, street life. So, because these kids today, it's about street life. They know,
Yeah, street life. It's way better. It's way better. There's no
don't
comparison.
have to look over your shoulder.
You don't have to look over your shoulder. You're living in peace.
You don't have to worry about that man upstairs. Because you want to know something? I'm telling you, man. That guy, God, and I'm not a very religious person.
Me too.
I'm just telling you what I see. I see it. So many times I see it. My friends died. My friends got locked up.
lunes hasta el viernes solo
come out of jail poor, and they can't even do anything because they'd be watched. It's terrible.
It's not a way to live.
No. It comes down to there's a consequence to everything you do in life. You know who told me that? A judge told me that I was getting sentenced.
Pero si te pones juicioso,
Years and years ago, I had witnesses
pero no puedes beber tanto.
coming to testify for me. Your Honor, Johnny's a good kid, blah, 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 about 10 people. And after that was all over,
Jueves, viernes, sábado y domingo.
the judge said,
Muchos días.
John, I know all in all you're a good guy. I see people coming to stand for you. But there's a consequence to everything you do in life. I text you later. Mi amigos. Mi amigos.
you know? But she's done.